Hello and welcome. I'm Master Lama Rasaji, and this is our Thursday edition of Rasaji Speaks. So happy you could join us. Hope you've had a tremendous week. Goodness gracious, that fire horse won't even let the yin cycle bother. That's how strong that sucker is. Today on PFL, we're going to have Sister uh, Jacqueline with us and to talk about, and Lamaji will be on. So I'm the feature speaker today. I get to put up with my Southern accent again. We're going to talk about King Solomon touch. Even my dad, when he was right sound of mind, he had about that. So that's the title today, King Solomon Touch. And we are going to talk a little bit about that now, a lot more about that today. We're going to touch on gold and silver and crypto and the stock market and everything. All kind of investing today. Tell you what PFL is doing and how they look to things. And you might want to consider some of those ideas. Now, we're not a financial planner. We are not stockbroker. We don't have a Series 6, Series 7 lesson. We just share with you what's worked for us. And you might want to pay attention to it because several things Lamaji has invested in this year, it's almost doubled. So you want to pay attention to that. And there's a lot of good overview we want to share with people today. So don't miss that 1 o'clock today. We'll be talking about that. Right now, I want to think about the title of today's Know Ye by Your Work. It's right out of scripture, right? Know ye by your work. Well, this plays into the second coming because the second coming is clear that it's not about the word incarnate. It's truly, truly about power. Know ye by your power. In other words, and the fruits of your labor. Know ye by your work. All of these are statements of this time frame, right? If it's mission driven, it carries a much higher frequency than us just trading services, goods, and products and manufacturing just for money, right? It's very true. A lot of people get caught up in making some really good money, but they turn around one day and they look in the mirror and they're not happy and proud about what they're doing to derive that money. When you look at the world, some of the most highest things that are paid are actually illegal. Drugs, prostitution, child trafficking. I mean, that stuff's crazy, but unfortunately, it pays the highest price. So that comes back to thou shalt not be tempted, right? Don't be tempted. We've seen some of that even in our own house here within the last 6 to 12 months. So if we're balanced, if we're looking at the circle of chi, Lamaji's first book in this life that was originally published in '09, and we want the chapters of the circle of chi to be balanced, then the chances of being tempted and getting us off our mission is much harder. If you're making more than enough money, if at least half of the money you make is residual, in other words, off of investments, off of royalties from maybe some music or some book you wrote before, uh, you know, that kind of thing. Maybe you're a landlord on 10 different pieces of property and you've got a cash flow that's a minimum of 25 to 30% over whatever the cost of that property is to maintain, you got a positive cash flow. That might be the way you make some of your money. I mean, my dad did that when he was a sound mind and body. And that's why we said he had the Solomon or Midas touch. And when he was sound mind and body, which he was most of the working years of his life, I would say about 30 years. He loved to do real estate on the side, long before there were real estate gurus like Kiyosaki and some of those other guys. He'd buy a house, he'd fix it up, sell it, six, hold it for 6 to 18 months, and turn around and sell it. Do it all over again. I saw him do a dozen or more houses that way, and he made a pretty good chunk of change. It's hard to believe, but in those days, people were buying houses on the low end for about $30,000, $40,000, if you can imagine. On the high end for about 100 to 120,000. I saw him do from 30 to about 120,000, and he did a good 10 or 15 of those over about a 20-year period until he got a little messed up in the head. But until then, it was a sound deal. Still to this day, that model works for a lot of people. You might say, well, I don't want to be the person that has to be a landlord and fix up. Well, they have fixed that angle too. You just hire a management company and you give them about 20 to 30% of the profit coming in, and they'll call in the air conditioned man. They'll call in the plumber when it's needed. You see what I'm saying? And so that's, one arena, but there's so many other things to do, especially with the internet now kind of kicking into second gear. About 10, 15 years ago, the internet kicked into second gear, and there is a lot of people. There's a lot of people that have made money on startup companies on the internet. A lot of people today with investment ideas. Be careful of all that before you try to get that get rich quick thing. Remember, anything can pull you off center. That get rich quick, whether it is you're in the ground floor of network marketing or affiliate marketing, or something's promoted on social media and I bought this for 50 cents and I sold it when it was $500. Now buy this and you'll make this. There's no guarantee of that. And a lot of times it's BS to start with. In other words, they didn't do what they did. There's a real difference from what we do here. If you have a really good sound portfolio, it should pay you 10 to 50% a year. I mean, it really should. If not, you let people who are experienced, like Lama G, manage the money, right? To give you a fair return. We do something that you'll hear about today and this afternoon that most people don't do, right? And that's pretty powerful when you think about it. And then educate yourself if you want to learn how to do it. Give yourselves 5 or 10 years. Amaji's been doing this for over 30, and I'm still learning tricks about investment every year, right? I don't even come close to think I know everything about investing, but I know a lot more than about 90% of the people that are doing what I'm doing. Yeah. You know why? Because I'm very disciplined. Because Tai Chi Gong makes you disciplined. You just have to treat half a dozen to a dozen things you do in the investment arena like a siddhana, like a spiritual exercise. So you have to have the discipline of Master David and myself to be successful in this arena because most people do everything based on emotion. And they're chasing this equity or that investment or that business, always thinking the grass is greener, right? Grounding. Grounding is a big deal for everything, and it includes being prosperous. You have to be grounded. So when you move into the arena of starting to take charge for finances, just remember most people have to be more grounded than the 90% of the people out there to make a substantial income level or investment income level that most people are not willing to do. You take the average immigrant, the legal ones that have come to this country over the years. And it's amazing how successful some of them are. Number one, they didn't raised up with a silver spoon in their mouth like so many people in the Western Hemisphere. So they're hungry. That's number one. Number two, they're willing to do things that the spoiled people in the West are not willing to do. I remember one was a guy decided he was going to create a company to paint bridges in America where you would get on pilings. Can you imagine you're laying on your back underneath a bridge that's 200 to 300 feet above water and you're going to paint underneath the bridge? I mean, who wants to do that? But when he found out most Americans didn't want to do that, he said, easy to easy. I'm just going to create a company and do this. And for a decade, he just made hands over fist amount of money. And his workers were well compensated. But while they were doing that, guess what? The value of his company was doing what? Like a right angle pyramid, straight up, just like that. We have here in PFL and also in COC a model that has been established now for 3 to 5 years. We're at the preface of getting ready to see this kind of growth. And why we know it's happening, because when we look at our marketing and advertising market and budget, we are doing things right now that is taking the needle just like this. So the only thing that we didn't have is enough yet in results. That will happen this year in the year of the horse. And watch what Lamaji is telling you. Make a note of how many things I've spoken the last 3 to 5 years that right in front of your eyes, what became reality. It happened just the way that Lamaji said it was going to happen. Thanks to be with you. Phasing off here. They're getting a little bit of a taste of that again. So I'm going to part with you today, and I'll see you this afternoon. And I'm really excited about sharing with you, with Sister Jacqueline, about building an incredible portfolio of assets and of currencies. Remember, most importantly, that energy is the currency of life. God bless you. And as we say in the Far East, Baraka Bashad. Look forward to seeing you today at 1 o'clock. And remember, Master David's teaching tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern. God bless you all.